Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome home. Welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and it's my pleasure and honor to be here for another episode of The Power of Etiquette and Manners, brought to us by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip SYKES. Philip and I have a very exciting announcement, which we will share with you. Let's welcome him to the program. Philip, it's an honor to see you again. Friday.
It's Friday. It is, absolutely. How are you, Dr. Jacalyn?
I am very excited because next week something fantastic is going to happen. Would you like to share with our audience?
Next week, I will be giving you a insight into working directly with Dr. Jacalyn in person here out of sunny Florida. And it's going to be an absolute joy because we've been working together for the last 2 and something years, if not longer. And we've never actually met in person. So for me, I am thrilled, excited, and I cannot wait to meet this incredible person in the flesh and engage with Dr. Jacalyn, and we'll be broadcasting all the way from Florida together.
Thank you for sharing that, Philip. I'm super excited as well. I want to just let everyone know that you can be working remotely and be productive and create a friendship and then get to meet the person in the flesh, so to speak. So, Philip, thank you for taking the time. Tell us a little bit about the British School of Excellence and what you do there to help change people's lives. And then we'll bring out our special guest, Adam Woods.
Well, here at the British School of Excellence, it's all about giving people the tools, the quintessential tools and skills to put their best foot forward. And it's got nothing really to do with how you are educated or how you have been brought up. This is about how we can give you these tools to shift and change your life, no matter where you come from in the world, no matter what your background. I can well assure you the power of etiquette, manners, including your emotional intelligence, can set you apart from almost anyone out there if you are prepared to commit and focus on making that change in your life. And everything is about change. If we've always done what we've always done, we're always going to do what we've always done. And here at the British School of Excellence, we equip you with these fundamental tools and skills so that you can fit in anywhere in the world. You can go through any organization and make a difference, not only to the organization, but to your life, both on a professional capacity and in a social and family related capacity. And if you have any questions, we love engaging directly through WhatsApp or on the telephone or Zoom. And you can visit our website, which is thebritishschoolofexcellence.com.
Thank you very much, Philip. I'm very excited to have Adam come out and share his expertise because it's not easy for everyone to get behind a camera, in front of the camera, whichever side you're on. And Adam helps really give people that confidence to communicate and share their message. Tell us a little bit about Adam, if you would, please.
So we had the privilege, my colleague that everyone is very, very familiar with is Leanne, who is really the driving force but behind the organization. and gives us the most incredible opportunities by connecting and reaching out to people. And Leanne came across Adam, and it was very much down to engaging with Adam. Adam was, one of the people that just says yes with regard to jumping out the aircraft and building a parachute. Leanne invited Adam to join us on our Train the Trainer a few weeks ago to give our Train the Trainers the insight and how important it is to show up from standing standing in front of a camera. And this camera confidence is something that Adam has developed over the last 5 years. Adam's background is in film and in directing and filmmaking, and has an incredible track record, documentaries to miniseries, and has traveled the world. And so not only is he worldly wise, but he comes with so much talent and enthusiasm. And off the back of Adam joining us on Train the Trainer, it so turned out that Adam literally lives a stone throw, or when I say a stone throw, a couple of miles from where I'm based in Surrey. And last Friday, we invited Adam to come pop around for what we call from South Africa, braai, but a barbecue. And we really had an amazing evening talking about people, building confidence, changing people's lives, and how important this is to give people that amazing platform, because every single one of us has the opportunity to jump out that aircraft and build a parachute on the way down. And so Adam really is an incredible talent, and I'm hugely excited to have him join us today.
Well, without further ado, let's welcome Adam Woods joining us from London. Hello.
Wow. Thank you for the introduction. I'm not sure I can follow that, but I'm willing to have a go. So chuffed, so pleased. That's a Britishism, by the way, chuffed. So great to be here with you both, Dr. Jacalyn and Philip, today. Can't wait for the conversation.
It's an absolute pleasure. And for our friends listening on the audio only platform, underneath your name, you have Camera Confidence Coach. Wow. I've never met anyone with that title before. Tell us about that, Adam, please.
Well, yeah, that's thank you for the invitation. And it was really interesting for me. I've been in film and television as a director for many, many years, all my career, in fact. And what I was recognizing, particularly in the last sort of decade working, particularly for CNN, traveling the world, meeting CEOs, celebrities, all kinds of different people making TV ads, was that the bit that I loved was the person in front of the camera. All the shenanigans of lights and sound and cameras was like irrelevant. It's when the person in front of me would open up and share their story, and we'd create a really deep emotional connection because I'd got to know them before we met on camera. And, something would happen, something magical would happen on camera when we really connected and they felt safe to be able to open up and really share stuff. And, I was a single father at the time, and I wanted to spend more time at home and not have to travel the world. Much as it sounds very exciting, it's comes at a cost. And so I thought, that's the bit I really love. And I decided that actually that's the bit I really wanted to concentrate on, which is coaching professionals, business people, to be able to turn up in front of the camera and share their authentic selves. And so I set the business up just before lockdown, and then lo and behold, in lockdown, we're all on camera. So it's been a real journey for me, as Philip kindly said. Jump out of the airplane and then let the parachute open.
Thank you, Adam. That's very exciting. It's interesting because people have told me, oh, it's easy what you do. You just stand in front of the camera, the microphone. No, it's not easy. It's your mindset. It's that you have to be completely focused, that the technology is working, that you're paying attention, you're listening, you're following the flow of the conversation. And so having that confidence is really key. Philip, would you add anything more to that?
Absolutely. And as I said earlier, everyone can take that step forward. There are people who absolutely are petrified with standing up in front of an audience, let alone in front of a camera. And it is far from easy. Everything in life is about being given the right tools, the right sort of skill set that you can then take on board. And then it's down to you to put yourself out of your comfort zone and really start to practice. And with modern technology now, I cannot I cannot say enough about this. We are so fortunate with the technology at our disposal. This is not how much money you can throw at the problem. This is just utilizing technology correctly and understanding how to embrace it. And then again, just putting one foot in front of the other and continue practicing, get some great guidance and coaching from someone like Adam, who really does take the pain away from you searching different channels and trying to find your footing. People like Adam, and he is phenomenal at what he does with the years of experience, really gives you that incredible skill set that will give you that confidence. And, this is something is in life, and this is not really about selling someone something, but the one thing is fundamental is how do we get from A to Z in the most dynamic, direct ways possible. We can go up and down the mountains and through the troughs and through the swamps and through and cross the rivers. But, let's try and circumvent that and go a little bit more directly to someone who can really take that pain away from us and give us that elevation in a very dynamic and short space of time.
Excellent. Thank you. Adam, what would you like to share about what Philip said?
Yeah, Philip, that's a really great point you made, actually. And I'm a great believer in leading by example. So I believe it's Albert Schweitzer said that example is not the main thing in influencing others. It's the only thing. So the way I coach is by, doing something like this, is turning up myself vulnerably and open and endeavoring to be authentic. Of course, authentic is not something you try to do. It becomes natural to you as you start to get more comfortable and confident on bringing your full self to the screen. So what I work on is trust and a safe space with my clients so that they then find that kind of deeper sense of their story and why they're doing something. It's the first step of my camera model is see your calling. And when we really get connected to that calling, we really understand it, not just from in our heads, but in our hearts. We understand why we're doing something, the power of why. Then that creates an energy inside of us to want to kind of share more with the world, not from a place of like trying to sell something or trying to convince or influence people, but just as an offer, as a gift. So what I love is working with people that have that gift and also that need to be of service to the community, to the world, and helping them break through any mind-forged manacles, i.e. fear or habits of like staying small or fearing visibility, and work through those blocks, because they're just, all they are is just fear. And fear is a mind-made state, basically. So work through that, through the coaching, in order to share from the heart their story. And of course, as we know, nothing really connects online better than great storytelling. So really finding that story within you that you want to share with others, that will be a real gift for them to hear it. Because if you're not sharing it, you're not sharing your gift with others. That in a way is selfish in its own way. So really trying to work with my clients to help them unwrap their story and really come out and start sharing it. And also to excellence and to the British School of Excellence. I love the quote that excellence is, we are what we repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is not an act, but a habit. And as Philip said, we build that muscle by doing things repeatedly. And so, in the work that I do, I get my clients to just keep on doing it until it becomes a second muscle. And look, as Philip said, we're all broadcasters now. In my day working for satellite television in the UK, when we want to go live, we had a huge truck and cameras and lights and all kinds of things. Nowadays, you can just do it on your iPhone. And so you can connect with people worldwide. And so, the real key thing is then, how you turn up, how you build those relationships authentically. And I think there is a lack of trust online. I think that, social media is like Pandora's box. It's opened up this fantastic ability, but also it's suddenly like, everyone's it's become a sort of very noisy space where actually trust can be quite fragile. So what I try to do is help clients and people I work with and communities to be able to, lead from the heart and come across authentically and build trust by sharing from the heart and being vulnerable in a way, sharing that it's not easy. I mean, I spent my whole career being behind the camera because, I wasn't that, I didn't feel that confident in coming in front of the camera. So I've had to learn myself starting my business. So today, I've had to, not feeling well this morning, I've had to kind of get myself up and get myself ready and go through a practice that I do to get myself in the right state. So, there's no people come on a call with me and thinking, oh, he knows all it is. It's like I'm human like the rest of us, and I work with people to develop their own personal way, their personal style, not to try to be like a news presenter or try to be like someone on CNN, but come in perfectly imperfect as you are and share from the heart and see what the connections will make.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Adam. A question I have, because this is something that I've dealt with a lot in my life. I'm a nervous wreck when I go to networking functions. I absolutely hate it. I feel like everyone's looking at me and going, why is she here? And then I realize no one's looking at me. But we do that. We make it about us. And so what I try to remember is, especially in this role, is that we're here providing education. So it's not about me. It's about the people out there watching. What can we give them to help them? What tools to make them more successful? So Adam, do you incorporate that? And Phil, do you incorporate that thought process in the work that you both do?
Yeah, thanks for being really open, Dr. Jacalyn, about that. I too get pretty nervous at networking events. And something I heard from my coach was, if you think everyone's judging you, they probably are. Because, it's part of the human mind, unfortunately. The way we built up our sort of amygdala is for safety. And part of that is keeping ourselves safe. So if you acknowledge that everyone else is going through a similar, everyone might be as nervous as you are, and particularly the people that might come across as confident, sometimes it can be a mask. So I think, as I'm sure that Philip will speak volubly through the British School of Excellence, it's about building rapport through cues. We give out 10,000 non-verbal cues every minute. Women actually can interpret and give out more than men, which is fascinating. But so it's really about your state, going in as you are, and what I do is a practice of stabilizing myself first, like I have done before this life. So I go into an embodied state of making sure that I'm okay, that I feel okay, that I'm, my adrenaline's sort of, my sympathetic nervous system is relaxed. And then just go in and be curious, be open, see what happens, and be open in the moment, not in like, oh, I want that from the set, or I'm bringing my past with me. It's like, be really curious, because there are cues in everyone. There are gifts in meeting every people. And if you're really alive and awake in the moment and coming from the heart, you'll hear something that someone shares. And if you're very curious, you'll get into conversation about what that other person's bringing. So for me, it's like a gift. And if you give a gift, they'll offer you a gift. And so it's not about what you take, it's about what you give and how you meet each other and how you build that rapport.
Excellent points there. Thank you, Adam. Philip, what about the British School of Excellence?
Love that. I just love that this is about authenticity. And as quite rightly, for those out there listening or will listen later, unfortunately, human nature is we judge, and we shouldn't judge. We should really take a step back, give ourselves a moment to assess, who am I going to connect with? Who am I going to engage with? And I always share, and as an organization, we push people to generally go out there and connect with people they wouldn't normally try and connect with, because we're not in the same bird that flocks together type thing. We're not this sort of, there's very little in common. And I love to push people out of their comfort zone, because it goes back to that sort of scenario of that one moment, that one opportunity could change your life for the rest of your life. And by being nervous and being awkward and not really trusting in being in the moment, in other words, as Adam said, is don't perceive 10, 15, 20 seconds ahead. Focus on now. Bring your A game, bring your being, bring yourself into the room and be that person, be that gorgeous, open, kind, caring, and bring your manners, bring your etiquette, and show that you are there to connect with the person that you're being introduced to. You're not there to sort of scattergun around the room and run around like a chicken with no head, because that won't bring you any value or the value to other people. And again, this is very, very powerful. We can build our resilience in areas that we're not very confident in. This brings me back to the last series of our Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire with wonderful Anthony Bennett, who is absolutely petrified about speaking in front of anybody, let alone, I mean, I think he got even nervous looking at himself speaking in front of the mirror. And now he is doing this as an incredible career. And he shares his beautiful story from deep down, and his authenticity, his openness, his being in the moment. And that just shows that anything is possible.
So on point, Philip. Thank you very much for that. Something I want to share with the two of you and have you comment on is I also coach people on how to be world-class broadcasters. And on more than one occasion, what was coming up for the other person, what I could see coming up, was that there were deep-seated issues that go way back that were impacting their confidence level. And so I'm wondering what experience you have where you think to yourself, well, I'm not a psychiatrist that I know of, I'm not a psychologist, I am a coach. How can people break through these barriers that are holding them back in believing in themselves? Let's start with Adam, please.
Great question, Dr. Jacalyn. And yeah, it's very personal. Obviously, it's personal to each person. And as a coach, I do the work on myself first. So, you know, I'm constantly, there's a lovely Japanese phrase, which is constant and never-ending improvement. So I'm, you know, constantly working to develop my own sense of safety and security inside of myself, because, you know, it's tricky being human sometimes, and particularly if you're then exposed as and I've worked with, you know, hundreds of people, putting them on national and international television. So I know what it feels like. I'm watching them, and then obviously watching them watch themselves go out is another thing. It's one thing to film someone, but then when it actually goes live and then the comments come out. So just being really encouraging, really creating a safe space, being very nurturing about that. And Bill Murray said, I do my best stuff when I'm relaxed. So that sense of relaxation is obviously very different for each person, but it's like being in integrity with oneself is kind of the journey that I go on, and I work with my clients to kind of understand we've already got all the magic inside of us that we need. And it's then about breaking through those, as I said, those mind-forged manacles, those sort of beliefs or judgments we might be carrying from ourselves. And often, as you say, they might go back to childhood. And often I say to my clients, well, they're not in the room with you. You're right here, right now. And, you know, so I think it's really about being compassionate, creating safe spaces, and creating a practice for yourself and for the people that you help to be able to be seen, be heard. And for me, it can happen very quickly that once that belief is broken, then it is broken. And so I work very experientially with clients with a camera. Often when I'm working with people in a room, I bring a camera and a screen in, and they get to watch themselves back, and they realize that these thoughts are like, I'm not good enough, or I sound rubbish, or I look terrible, etc., 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 which we all can have, isn't necessarily true. It's just in here. So yeah, I work quite fast with people to help them understand that actually those inner judgments are just, yeah, they just make believe. But it's, you know, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy. And I think the really important thing is to kind of find that space for yourself and find that story that you really want to share. And then when we attach to that, calling that real sense of like, yeah, it becomes bigger than we are. It becomes bigger than our ego, which keeps us small. And so when we're in service to a calling, you know, our service to the world, then really anything is possible.
Absolutely. What I'm hearing you say is that we can acknowledge how we're feeling. I'm feeling afraid at the moment, or I'm feeling not good enough, and then just sit with it and let it go, break through it, and then realize that there's a greater calling, a greater meaning for you to share your story to help other people.
Yeah, very much so. And this is, again, what I love, what the three of us are focusing on right now is this is where we can rewire our brains, and that's through developing and building our emotional intelligence, and to really sort of get rid of those past haunting feelings of fear, those emotions, those things that trigger something in us. And just as Adam was sharing, and I know Dr. Jacalyn, you've got various different exercises that you do to bring yourself into the room, and to also just to get yourself zoned in, because when, you know, being human is hugely challenging. There's no such thing as a perfect human being. And, you know, we have lives outside our careers, as in we've got to show up. with Adam not feeding on his A game this morning, he's got tools to show up, because no one's interested you showing up going, oh, I hope I can perform today. I've had a bad night's sleep, or I've got jet lag, or I'm feeling like razor blades in my throat. No one cares. You've got to perform, because that is what you've set out to do. And so it is fundamental that we find these quintessential tools to elevate us, to push us, and to get through those moments. And quite rightly, different forms of feeling relaxed. Bill Murray said, I do my best work when I do my best work when I've got that few butterflies in my stomach. No show that I come on with you, Dr. Jack, and no coaching program is a cookie cutter approach in our organization. So there's always someone breakdancing in my stomach, but hopefully breakdancing with some pretty good moves that I pull that amazing energy from, and that I can absolutely bring my A game and hopefully be better than I was the last time.
I just love that breakdancing in my stomach. That's fabulous. Woo! So something that's also coming up is when you have the confidence and you're delivering the education, the content, and someone in the audience doesn't like it. And we see this at comedy shows where people are heckling people. You see it, authors, they get reviews and somebody writes something that's not very nice. How do we handle the rejection at the same time we're trying to deliver and keep our confidence? Adam?
Yeah, great question. I've got quite a few stand-up comics as friends, so I hear what they share with me, and comedy is tough right now sometimes in terms of how you broach what we call political correctness. But with a view to kind of hecklers, and when something doesn't go inverted commas as planned, I mean, that's the gift. That's always the gift. Are you right in the moment? Are you, projecting on someone else something, a fear inside of you? What's going on for that person is that person's. What's going on for someone's comments is their comments. So I think the important thing, and depending on the context, is to acknowledge them. It's not to kind of close people down, because, of course, that's the worst thing you can do in a situation like that, is acknowledge that. And I think that, the vulnerable thing is to acknowledge that someone might not like what you're saying, or acknowledge where they're at, and then continue, and then continue with what you want to offer. You don't have to. And I think the thing is, it's like a great martial art. Martial arts aren't about meeting resistance with resistance. It's about letting it flow. So you can take on board and say, fantastic comment. And you don't have to meet it in the moment. You can process it. You can acknowledge it and say, really value your point. Or it really depends on the context. And like with technology, as I said, as we came on backstage this morning, tech tests, and something will always go wrong. And in fact, that's a true test of, are you in the moment? Are you in your message, or are you in your head trying to work out all the, trying to control the situation? So if you're really in flow and you're in the moment and you're relating to the audience, magical things can happen. And the difficulty sometimes with camera work, like we are today, is I can't see the audience. I mean, I'm grateful I've got you two on the bench, as it were, with me. But often when I'm coaching a client on delivering a live talk to an unseen audience, it's like, how do you monitor your state and how do you engage with an audience? Well, you have to engage with your own audience. You have to kind of engage with yourself and make sure that you're satisfied with where you're at. And in a way, it creates not a force shield, but it creates a sort of sense of security inside yourself that people just recognize. And I've worked with enough actors and TV presenters over the years to see them build that state of certainty. Not that they're in control, but they're vulnerable, but they're in the moment and they're really secure in themselves, so that actually when they're in the moment in a scene, they're feeling that right in that moment. When you see an actor, a great performance on stage or on screen, you're with them because you connected emotionally. And there's a great saying in Islam, which is, when I speak from my head, I connect with other people's heads. When I speak from my heart, I connect with other people's hearts. So that's why I work quite a lot with emotions and telling stories that create connection through sharing our own feeling states with others, not to make them feel the same way we feel, but so that we can create that connection. And it has to be genuine, because otherwise it doesn't work. But when you feel that, a thing called catharsis can happen. And that is a really powerful state that you're in connection with people and they're feeling, and they're in that zone with you. They're in that place that you're in. And it's a really magical thing. It's hard to do on camera, but it's still possible. And it's something that I think really creates a deeper connection, particularly when we're speaking to audiences around the world.
Absolutely. I agree with you. There's something that's so powerful about having that connection with someone from a different part of the world, having that curiosity and being open. We don't use any scripts here. As you know, when you came backstage, there was no questions that we handed you in advance. And Philip, you've been with me 2+ years. You have no idea what I'm going to be asking. What I found is that there are people who really are adamant about having a script and having a question in advance, knowing where is the conversation going to go. So I want to go over to Philip first, and then we'll go to Adam to weigh in on the pluses and maybe the opportunities about using a script or not using one.
Good question. Very good question. I think if you are cutting straight to some very serious facts and you need your ducks in a row, so to speak, then having at least a framework of a script would serve you. In these sort of situations, and which is so wonderful about whether we're running The Power of Etiquette and Manners or any of your other shows, Live, Learn, Teach, Inspire, I definitely want to know a little bit about the person, or a lot, as much as I can about the person before we connect. And sometimes we don't. So it needs to come from that deep down connection and literally from the heart, and not to pontificate and to pussyfoot around the so-called subject matter. Let's just get to the chase and speak to that person about their background and their profession. And when you are a professional, as in years and years of practice and repracticing and more practicing, you become a professional, and you should, in principle, be able to converse on the subject matter that you're a professional in. If you cannot, then you've definitely taken a U-turn or you've taken the wrong fork in the road. And that for me is really important, is if you say you can do something, you better be able to put your money where your mouth is. There's no room for winging it or lip service, as I would put.
Excellent point. Thank you. I'd like to add to that, and then we're going to go over to Adam, that we have 50 some shows here, and sometimes things come up and somebody can't host their own show. And I'll ask one of the other team members to step in. Yesterday, I had to step in for someone, and there was a lot of concern. Well, do you know anything about the person? And I said, I'm here to learn. I'm curious about the person. I can do a cursory Google search, LinkedIn, whatever it is, but I'm listening. I'm paying complete attention as to what this person's saying, and I'm going to follow the flow of the conversation. Adam, what are your thoughts, please?
Yeah, some really good thoughts. And I think that what's really important is that we're all carrying a message inside of us. And I think people are interested in who you are in the moment, not in what you've done necessarily. So a lot of times with people I'm working with, I say, well, it's great that you've worked for all these different places, but who are you now? And who are you in the moment with the audience that you're with? And the important thing, particularly, sharing in connection with, like, for instance, doing videos, as I work with a lot of business owners and creating videos for their websites, things like that. It's like people actually aren't that interested in you. They're interested in what's in it for them. So we work quite a lot on, identifying your ideal client, ensuring that you know exactly what pain you help them resolve, what pleasure you're helping them towards. So you can speak to that. And if you can speak about your own journey and how you've got on that, like when I first started this business, I started doing videos, and I'd never made them before of myself in front of the camera, and they were terrible. And this was only a few years ago, and I still got them in the vault somewhere, heavily padlocked. But I've gone on my own journey, and then I started a Facebook group where I started to practice more with the whole community. So I think the important thing is to be relevant and contextual and be respectful. Not everyone's got a lot of time. And, other people got other things on their minds than you. So really pay attention to the moment, pay attention to what's happening in front of you, to the human that's there, and see if you can build that rapport in a way that helps them. And as I say, it's a gift. If you can offer a gift like that, then it'll drive and create a reciprocal relationship, which is, in a way, what we're all after is connection.
Connection is vital, so important. A question I have for you about how we are showing up when we're doing our broadcasts or our TV shows, our podcasts. I have a strict policy, which is we will not interview you if you're in your car, for example, or you're in a room that's laden with dirt and mess. And some people are offended by that. I can drive and be interviewed at the same time. And my response is, we want this to be, it's out there forever. We want you to show up at your best, where you're able to concentrate and focus, and we can bring the best out of you. Adam, is that a mistake? Am I being too limiting?
I believe that we've moved out of the information age, that we now have more information than we know what to do with. We are literally overburdened with it. And I think we're now in the attention economy. We're craving attention, and we need to respect people in terms of, people are time poor. I'm not saying everyone is, but generally in connection with, particularly in, say, the Western world, there's a kind of, the sense of compression of time. So giving someone your undivided attention and giving them, something they can, relate to, and then free of distractions. When I work with clients, we talk about setting your stage. Your background says a lot about you, what you're wearing, how you come across, as Philip will attest through the British School of Excellence work. It's all cues. It all comes around to give a congruous sense of who you are. And that's really, that's what you give people, is a sense of who you are. And you're paying respect to them by, being in the moment, paying attention, and being intentional with your time and energy and the way you've prepared. I've obviously prepared for this talk. I've got, lots of things written down, but I'm also trying to be in the moment. So that script point is, don't come unprepared. Know what you want to get across, know what you want to offer, but then be in the moment, allow the conversation to flow, and be in attention with the others.
I love that. And Adam, I know you have something that you want to share. I just want to acknowledge that. Do you have something you want us to bring up on the screen? Oh, we can't hear you. Sorry.
Trying to bring it's only if it's a I think I can present it, if or you can present it. Yeah. So when I spoke about your calling, is what I devised when I started this process is a 6-step process that I take people through, and really you can do it for yourself over time. So it's not about hey, it's mine, and I'll happily offer it up. But when you understand why you're doing something, when you understand who it's absolutely for, and I don't mean like generically 16 to 34, I mean that name, that person, that name. And when truly know what you want to say in a very short, concise way, and then how you do it, your empathy, how you build that empathy, and then the response you want to get, and then you act on it, and then you assess how you do it. It's a model that I borrowed from the advertising industry, of which I've been part of for many years as a creative director. So yeah, that's the model I use when I work with clients, is we work through those steps just to get really clear, get them very prepared, and get them very much clear on that kind of blueprint of what they want to get across, so that your messaging is really to the point. As I say, we're all time poor. You want to kind of deliver on message. You want to deliver who you believe is your brand. Particularly we're all brands these days in terms of turning up consistently as our authentic selves. So this is part of what I do. So feel free, if you want to take a screenshot or use it for your own purposes. It's a gift.
Thank you, Adam. I'm really appreciative of the fact that you put this together, because I think it really gives some great tips and tools for people. The one that's really calling to me is the empathy and how you do it. So I think that goes back to everything we've been saying today. First of all, it's about showing up and being curious and having that childlike wonder about someone else. And one thing that we haven't talked about, which I think is also important, is it's difficult to have empathy if we have judgment. Philip, I think you did touch on it, the judgment piece. So you come to share some information and the interviewer has a completely opposite point of view from yours. And instead of being gracious and empathetic and being curious as to why you feel the way you feel, they go on the attack. And you see this in a lot of the political shows. What are your thoughts about taking an offensive stance with someone you're interviewing? I'll go with you, Adam, first, please.
Yeah. So my work in peace building and in facilitation of safe spaces is all about not making anyone wrong. I'm a great believer in in non-dual thinking, which is we don't make right and wrong. Shakespeare said, there's no right or wrong, that thinking makes it so. So I think the important thing, it is hard, when someone's attacking you, but the great art is to acknowledge that person and where they're at. It might be their pain, their belief, they're acting out of their own unconscious selves, and to really acknowledge that person and where they're at. Obviously, in politics, that is part of the game, and it's a fencing game, so that's a different kind of context. It's kind of expected to have that conflictual side, and let's remember, I've worked in the media, I've worked for the BBC, I've worked for National Geographic, Discovery, Al Jazeera International over many years. The news agenda is set by news organizations in order to have conflict, in order to build ratings and get audiences watching. So the key thing, I think, is acknowledge where someone's coming from. And, you don't have to agree, but you can politely put your particular stance without making them wrong, without having a non-judgment. And if you really want the best way possible of doing it, is a thing called non-violent communication, NVC. Marshall Rosenberg created it and inherited it from other people, but fantastic videos on YouTube. So it's like not making anyone wrong, and just really acknowledging where they're at, but also being able to put your own point of view without making that person feel that they are being resisted. It's hard, but it's powerful when you see it in action.
Absolutely. I love that. Thank you. And I think also one other point might be setting the stage in advance, giving that other person enough respect to say, hey, my role here is to challenge you. And so I'm not sure what's going to be coming up for you, but I want you to be mentally prepared that I'm going to be asking questions to challenge your belief, or they might rile you up. Philip, I know with the work you've been doing with the British School of Excellence for all these years, that when you talk about etiquette and manners, sometimes people come back and say, it's rubbish. It doesn't matter. Tell us about how you've had to deal with that and what you say to people in reference to challenging what it is that you're teaching and instilling across the world.
That's a great question. For me, having these incredible, or the foundation, first off, and you can build a foundation at any stage in your life, but if one can build a foundation from as early on as possible, that's obviously going to be far more solid and far more sort of dynamic in so many aspects. And that's one of the reasons, Dr. Jacalyn, why you and I came up with this title for this show, is the power of etiquette and manners. And when we talk about that, it's our emotional intelligence as well. But for me, when you adopt and understand what manners actually are and what etiquette really is and how they belong together, and you can absolutely utilize the togetherness. And again, I'm going to incorporate your emotional intelligence, but manners and etiquette are bedfellows, and they are like the traffic lights in society. As Fiore said in his book, they're there so we don't bang into each other. They're not there to trip us up. And people just need to understand how important it is to show respect to other people, to be thoughtful, to be kind, to be polite, to be caring, because that is what, in my opinion, life is and should be all about. And the world over has become very short in that area. And I'm generalizing. And then with the etiquette side of things is, it brings in that huge respect, but it's also taking the time to understand how other people are and what their rules of engagement are, what their beliefs are, what their customs are. And, this whole organization was very much founded on understanding people from all over the world so we can incorporate the good from their background and culture into our lives. Therefore, we can be that much more dynamic, that much more flamboyant, that much more open and in connecting with one another. And it really is such an important part of our being. And people need to understand that there's one race, and that's the human race. We need to focus on now, and we need to be working on building and protecting the future. Because if we don't, there's going to be some very, very serious consequences on our hands.
Philip, thank you to you and Leanne and your entire team at the British School of Excellence for all that you bring to this world. Adam, thank you for what you're bringing to this world. We've had a number of comments. I just want to highlight one because it's Maggie, the substitute teacher, who has joined our team. And Philip, a referral from you. Maggie was here last week doing her cooking of scones / scones. I don't know what's the proper way, but Maggie, thank you so much for sharing. We're grateful for you as well. Adam, what haven't we asked you today that you'd like to share and leave our audience with?
Yeah, it's been a wonderful conversation. I'd love to continue it onwards. And just to Philip's point around building connection and trust, globally. I think that's a key thing, and that we have this power to connect, online these days. But let's use it with kindness and with trust and with service of building a better world through, as a business owner, I'm a great believer that business has the ingredients and the power to change lives and to change the world. We can't just rely on governments to do it for us. So, as a business owner myself, my passion is to help people build that confidence, be able to share their stories internationally through this fantastic medium, and build with care and kindness and love, because it can feel sometimes that there's not a lot of it, but of course it's there. It's just the noise of the world and the news of the world that can take our attention. But there's plenty of love and kindness there. And I think important thing is that we need to build our own courage to be able to share that. And if we don't do it, then we're then invisible. So if you have a passion to share your message with the world, then have the courage. Move to the center of danger, for there you will find safety. Move outside of your comfort zone. Get on camera. Share your message with the world. You just don't know what a difference it will make.
Absolutely brilliant. And I just want to highlight the fact that, Adam, you are not feeling at your best today, and you showed up at 100,000%. You showed up at the A+ level. So if there's anything for people to take away from the show today, it's believe in yourself. Turn off that noise that's telling you can't, all the excuses that we have that come up. You can do it. Adam is here. He's done it. Philip's here. I'm here. And we're here for you. Philip, what would you like to share before we close out today?
Just to echo what Adam was sharing there about love and kindness, it's definitely there in the world. We just need to get rid of the noise. We need to focus on being in the present. We need to get off our ridiculous digital world. Get rid of it. Use it as a tool to enhance your business and that sort of thing, not to distract and influence our brains in a negative sense. I really believe that we're in a world where we are so absorbed by what's going on around us, not only just the noise, but the sort of images and the what people are doing to themselves and what they're doing to other people. It's just getting too much. And let us build ourselves from our own wonderful world and experiences, and share those experiences through the power of this medium here. Because just going back to what Adam shared, is that every single one of us have got a story. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, I don't. No, I'm just little old me. Well, let me tell you, little old me, whoever you might be out there, you've got a story to tell, because one person, and there'll be more than one person, will resonate with your story. And that could open up an opportunity for them to get rid of the fear, to get rid of the shackles they might have been holding them back all those years, and allow them to fly like a little butterfly and go out there and help pollinate the world in such a dynamic way.
That's beautiful what you shared, Philip. And also to just bring it all together. We don't know who's watching or listening now on the live or the replay, and we have the replay out there forever. People can listen at their own leisure, and we don't know who's taking what away from the program. But what we do know is that we want the best for each and every person out there. And we want you to feel confident and believe in yourself, and know that your story has value, and that sharing your story will help someone. We don't know when or who or where, it doesn't matter, but just know and believe in yourself that you have something to offer. As we close out, I want to say thank you to Adam. I want to say thank you to Philip. Thank you to Leanne. Thank you to the British School of Excellence. And thank you to everybody out there who's watching and listening. We're going to close out with a message from Philip about the Polished Professional. Philip, tell us a little bit about it before we watch the sponsorship.
Yeah, the Polished Professional. It is one of the most phenomenal courses you can take at the moment out there in professional development. If you're struggling to move ahead in your career, wherever you are, you could be doing anything from being a taxi driver, truck driver, to an IT consultant, to a lawyer. It doesn't really matter. The Polished Professional gives you these quintessential tools to elevate yourself to the next level. One of our students, Darren Carter, is on our YouTube channel, and he openly says he got a 16,500% return on his investment. And that is no lie. It's from his heart. It's his authenticity. And we here at the British School of Excellence will work with you until you get that promotion. I can well assure you that. So please go onto our website, have a look at the Polished Professional. It will serve you hands down, and we are there to support you right on that journey.
Thank you, Philip. Adam, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you, and who's a good client for you to work with?
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. It's been such a pleasure to be with you on USA Global TV and Radio, and with you, Philip. Thank you so much. Really honoured to have this conversation with you, and I hope it sparks some interest in all of our collective businesses and what we're bringing to the world. Best way to contact me is through cameraconfidence.co.uk. There's an inquiry form there. Just drop a little note, say hi, whatever you want, or if you're interested in having some tips and hints, we can have a quick conversation. So that's the best way to get in touch with me. And really. And my email address is adam@cameraconfidence.co.uk.
Thank you very much. And of course, all the contact details for Adam and for Philip are in the show notes, wherever it is that you're watching. So thank you to everyone on all the various platforms around the world for being here. And thank you, Adam. We look forward to having you back on this or any of our other shows. Philip, I'm super excited to meet you in person next week. Thank you. As we close out, let's take a look at the Polished Professional. Bye for now, everyone. Stay tuned. USA Global TV and Radio proudly presents our partner and sponsor, Mr. Philip SYKES and the British School of Excellence. Building confidence, changing lives. And now, proudly presenting the Polished Professional.
On a transformative journey with the British School of Excellence's comprehensive suite of masterclasses, crafted to elevate your professional and personal life. 8 outstanding modules will elevate you to the next level. Module 1, Exploring Life's Purpose, delves into the depths of self-discovery, guiding you to chart your unique path to fulfillment and success. Module 2, Mastering Professional Presence and Confidence. This masterclass is a deep dive into the art of self-assurance and commanding presence, which is essential for standing out in today's competitive landscape. Module 3, Learn the Secrets of Visual Impact, how to curate a personal style that amplifies your professional brand. Module 4, Mastering Professional Etiquette and Communication Excellence, navigating the nuances of corporate interaction with grace and tact. Module 5, Elegance in Eloquence. We impart powerful techniques to captivate and persuade any audience with your oratory skills. Module 6, Unlock the potential of your emotional intelligence, EQ, and harness the ability to connect, empathize, and lead with emotional savvy. Module 7, Mastering DISC, building a gateway to understanding behavioral styles, fostering better personal and professional relationships. Module 8, Mastery in Dining Etiquette, building your confidence to perfect the subtleties of dining with finesse, enhancing your social savviness at any table. Step into the Polished Professional program where poise, elegance, and excellence aren't just taught, they're instilled for life. Join us to redefine your potential and polish your professional edge.
To learn more, go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. The British School of Excellence are investors in people. Let us invest in you.